In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason Prologue episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jake Lloyd and I am the co-founder of Dragon Wagon Radio, and this is a homebrew role-playing game. I have to preface, despite the name, it's not Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing a game inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, and this isn't going to be necessarily a normal episode right off the bat, but it's going to serve more as an introduction to the world, to our characters, and of course, to us. Speaking of us, I should introduce us. Once again, I said my name is Jake Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Dragon Wagon Radio and host of a fantastic little podcast called Elaborate on the Network. And I am here with my acquaintances in adventure, of course. Two of my absolute favorite people. First and foremost, the writer and a poet and friend to the animals. It's Alexandra Hoy. Say hi, Alexandra.
Hello, Jake.
Alexandra, you were a guest on Myth Understood.
Yes.
Which is another fantastic podcast on the network that I'm sure we'll talk about lately. But other than that, this is your first dive into the network. What's your background with playing role-playing games?
Not a lot of experience.
Perfect.
I've definitely RPG before, but in a much more relaxed environment for sure.
Well, this is a relaxed environment. We'll get into a little bit further about sort of the style of game that we're going to play here on this show. But before we do that, joining Alexandra and I is a writer, director, and a man who is as tall as he is stylish. It's Matt Hinkstman.
Hello.
Matt, would you rather us call you Matt or Matthew?
Matt's fine.
Because I feel like, I like to call you Matthew because I like being really proper with you.
My mom calls me Matthew, so that'd be weird.
Oh, do you don't want me to bring up your mother? Are we touching on a sore subject?
I'll elaborate.
Okay.
Not on this one.
Other show. And of course, let's bring in the man who created this world. He is our almighty DM, and he is co-host of Myth Understood on Dragon Wagon Radio. And he is my bestie. I am so pleased to be in this man's world. He's got the whole world in his hands. We are on that world. Therefore, we are in his hands. He is the Paul Bianchi.
Thank you. It's funny when you said let's bring me out. I sort of imagined myself being carted out.
Yeah. Like being carried by an army of female soldiers, like Amazons.
Sure, yeah. And there's streamers and ticker tape. Yeah, it's a very delightful. I'm eating grapes as this is happening.
They're being fed to you. Let's be specific.
Yes, of course.
So, Paul, let's talk a little bit about exactly what this is. What are we doing?
Well, we are about to enter all together, the four of us, a fantastical world. I've always been really intrigued by fantasy, and so a lot of the tropes that you're used to with fantasy as we play through this game are going to exist. There are elves, there are dwarves, there are humans, of course.
It still stems from that D&D fantasy world, that Tolkien-inspired sort of...
Of course, yeah, and I think you got to give credit where credit's due when you say Tolkien-inspired and D&D inspired, because they certainly revolutionized. But a lot of these tropes and these characters came from all different mythologies, mostly a European mythology, but they have been colored by East Asian and other landscapes as well.
So this sort of story that we're playing is called The Rhyme or Reason.
Yes, it's called The Rhyme or Reason because it is going to be a quest that's embarked in the region of Rymor. Rymor is on the southern hemisphere of this planet, sort of if you can imagine like the southern tip of South America.
Okay.
That sort of marches on towards Antarctica. So it's a rhymy more.
So we have done most of the legwork as far as creating our characters, but there is one thing that we have yet to roll for. Paul, you want to clue us in here?
Yeah, I actually picked this up from one of the first times that I played a group role-playing game, and it was rolling for your perks and your caveats. Perks, of course, being things that benefit you on the journey, and caveats being things that may hinder your character on your journey. And these are a list of 20 things, 10 perks, 20 caveats, and so you'll roll the 10-sided die twice to determine what these are. And if you're wondering why I do this, it's also because I feel like it encourages additional character development that is just fun to have that sort of X factor for your character.
Yeah.
Sure.
So who would like to go first?
Alexandra?
Sure.
All right. So before you do that, tell us very briefly about just what your character is. We're going to learn more later, but just for the sake of knowing what these caveats are being applied to for the sake of the listener.
Yeah. So I'm playing a young human ranger named Adeline.
Okay, so roll to see what Adeline's perk will be.
9.
Yes, your perk. It is your inheritance. You've been left with an inheritance of 500 extra gold.
Whoa.
As well as an elven manservant that you can tell to do anything for you. And whether you or not you keep this manservant with you on your journey is entirely up to you.
Wow.
So that's a whole nother character that you get to develop a backstory for if you desire.
Whoa. I'm going to have to think about that.
All right.
Okay.
Now, what about your caveat?
Caveat is number 4.
Unfortunately, you have an affliction and you get to decide why you have this affliction, if it's a curse or if it's a disease or something that just runs in your family. But fire will do 50% more damage to you
Whoa.
throughout this journey.
All right, so be extra careful with matches then. Why don't you go next, Matt? First, tell us about your character.
My character's name is Matson.
Matson.
He's a shadow elf,
Ooh.
a rogue shadow elf.
All right. Let's see what his perk
4.
for.
So, Matson, a benevolent ghost or entity has attached itself to you and will aid you along your journey.
But everybody's getting helpers.
Awesome.
I hope I get a helper. I hope I get like a really nasty squirrel who follows me around and like bites at people's ankles
I
for
have
me.
ghost aids.
Yeah.
Hashtag ghost aids.
Okay.
All right,
Now
is your-
working- now for my caveat.
Uh-huh.
8.
Ooh.
8. Okay, so
said, "Ooh," like I know
unfortunately,
what it is.
Matson, in your life you have there's a kidnapped child that has been kidnapped and taken to the south. This doesn't need to be your child, but it is someone that you feel it is your duty to acquire them once they're in this town. This is something that guides you on your journey that may get the party in itself into trouble, additionally to whatever your journey that you had in your mind beheld.
Okay. Now this is a kidnapped child that I know is in Rymore.
Yeah, you know this kidnapped child is in Rymore,
Okay.
and it is important to you to return this child to where it belongs.
Oh boy. All right.
All right, that leaves me. So I'm playing as a half orcan, half human warrior named Junk, spelt junk. And all right, let's see what my perk is going to be. 10.
A 10. So Junk is gifted with a 6th sense, which means that at any time you can roll to sense enemies that may be hidden around you.
I have a spider sense?
You have a spider sense.
I like this. I'm going to write that. Okay, and now my caveat. Come on. Give me a caveat that sucks the least of all of the sucky things. 8.
So, unfortunately, you are also clumsy, which means that you have a chance to take damage from random spills and collisions throughout the journey.
Great. I'm literally writing clumsy on my fucking character sheet at this point. Now, if you want to see the full list of perks and caveats to see what could have been, go to dndwpod.com where all of the extras live. And with our perks and caveats, we now know a little more about our characters.
As the three of you are aware, just living this land in the lands north of Rymore, which is where you all come from, maybe not originally, but it was where you are journeying from at the beginning of the story. There is a war that has been going on for 5 years between the desert folk and the shadow elves. The shadow elves who believe that magic is something to be reaped from the land and not returned, and the desert folk who believe one should take from the magic from the earth and then return it back to the earth, sort of a peaceful Captain Planet-esque belief system.
Right.
However, they themselves, as wars around the world are waged, no one is completely innocent and no one is completely evil in this war as well. That's the way our story is going to begin. You guys are all packed into a boat with refugees who are fleeing the war, the terrible war in the north, coming down to the dwarven city of Shell's Landing in the south in order to escape, start a new life, or maybe there's some sort of dark ulterior motive that you have buried deep inside those little creepy hearts of yours. So without further ado, would you like to begin and progress into the game?
Let's do it.
I say let's get started.
Great. Well, let's venture into our fantastical land for this, the Rhyme or Reason Prologue, Trouble Aboard the Providence. And away we go. It's early morning, and as you awaken, the steady, rolling waves of the Analian Sea remind you that you are once again to live another day in the cramped, squalid hold of the cargo ship called the Providence. The Providence is a large 4-deck vessel originally intended for siege equipment. Today, it is co-opted to carry refugees from the burning remains of the Free City Decorum in the north to the dwarven city of Shell's Landing in the south. The war between the Shadow Elves and the Desert Folk has uprooted many families, and the ship is packed with mostly humans and elves with hardly enough food to sustain them on their journey. It's hot and muggy, and it smells like filth and excrement. It is day 16 into your 3-week travel. Some have fallen ill and died, mostly children and gnomes. But it's the harsh reality of what's to be expected on a difficult journey. One child in particular, a small dwarven boy, stands silhouetted by the porthole window over Junk's body as he awakens.
Hello? Hello?
Whoa, what the?
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Hey there, little guy. You scared me.
I'm so sorry to wake you up, sir, man, sir, person.
Oh, that's all right, small fry.
And Junk sits up into a sliver of sunlight, and even sitting down, he's enormous compared to the child. His skin is a pale green, and he wears pretty basic leather armor over cotton clothing. He has a large, studded pauldron on his left shoulder. His hair is really well styled, especially for a half-orc, and he has a short black beard with no mustache. And next to his bedding sits this massively heavy warhammer with a much larger than usual handle.
Due to close proximity, Adeline and Matson and probably other refugees can hear this conversation as it takes place.
You see, well, something terrible happened. My sister, Jolly, the other night, she was killed by the ship spider.
The what now?
Upon hearing ship spider, Matson, who is a thin, dark figure standing in a shadow nearby, leans in as this piques his interest.
Similarly interested in what she just heard, Adeline excuses herself from an elven man she's sitting with and approaches the young man in half-orcan. She has long blonde hair and wears a fairly elegant red leather armor fitting for a ranger underneath a long brown cloak. Did you say ship spider?
Well, that's what the other kids are calling it, and I really need your help because I don't want it coming after me tonight.
Oh, you poor thing.
Well, little guy, it's your lucky day. Of course I'll help. I mean, it's just a little spider, nothing to be afraid of.
Well, it's actually a giant spider.
Junk smirks at the boy, assuming that he's exaggerating.
Oh, a giant spider.
Yeah, and Junk's skepticism is understandable. You're all packed into the ship like sardines. If a giant spider was killing children, you're pretty sure someone would have noticed.
Well, even the biggest spider is still little to me, so don't you worry your chunky little cheeks.
No, you don't understand. Please, I need your help. My sister's dead. This is very serious.
Okay, calm down. It's okay. I'll help you no matter how big this mean old spider is. And you know what?
And Junk looks over to Adeline, who's been the only person on the ship to really converse with him so far.
I bet Adeline here will help too, won't you?
She kneels down next to the boy. Of course I'll help. Besides, I could use a break from beating the green guy at cards all day.
No, that's not true. You're cheating. She's cheating.
What's your name, sweetheart?
Hallen.
And what else can you tell us about this scary spider, Hallen?
Well, I saw it first last night. My sister Jolly and I were starving. We saw a rat run by, and we
rats are delicious.
We decided to try and catch it. The old lady Blarney said she would cook it up for us if we caught it. It ran through a hole, and I couldn't fit through because, well, I'm a bit of a rotund little boy.
Oh, yeah, we can see that. You haven't missed a lot of meals.
Right.
You look great.
Thanks. But my sister's been sick, and she got really thin so she could fit. I poked my fat face in after her, and I saw the rat turn into a man, and then the man became a giant spider, and it spun Jolly up in its web. It sank its fangs in her neck, and it sucked out all of her blood.
Matson, after hearing these details, finally speaks out from the darkness. I'd also like to offer my assistance in this investigation. And finally, Matson steps into the light. He's tall and thin, but a hood covers most of his features. He wears a form-fitting cloak in various greens and browns, and daggers rest on his hips.
Oh, I didn't even see the shadow elf in the shadows. Scary.
Junk looks to Matson. He's seen him around the ship, but this is the first time that he's ever heard him speak. Junk gives him a really big, friendly smile.
Well, hi.
Matson seems bothered by it and tries to ignore it. So this spider that turned into a man, what did the man look like?
The man was human, and he had a long silver braid and an eye patch,
Sounds like a very stylish man.
I guess. And I was hoping that if it wasn't too much trouble, you could take that warhammer and just smash him to pieces.
And you saw him change into a spider and kill your sister with your own eyes.
Yes, that's what I said. Why doesn't anyone believe me?
It's okay. It's okay. We believe you.
Oh, you do?
And we're happy to help.
Thank you. I'm going to go hang out with my old lady friend.
Helen walks over to an old woman you presume is Blarney, wearing a shawl and a warm smile. She's exactly the sort you'd expect to take after vagrant children on a refugee ship. So the boy appears safe for the moment.
So once Helen leaves, Adeline stands back up. Okay, so what's the plan?
Well, assuming the kid isn't making this all up, this sounds like some powerful magic. Have either of you dealt with shapeshifters before?
I have not, no. Although I suppose I may not know if I have, would I?
Well, the sun is still low, and people should be starting to get up and move around, so why don't we take a walk about, and maybe we can find our Mr. Brady McEyepatch.
Sounds good to me.
Adeline calls out to her tall elven companion. Idlewild, would you please keep an eye on the boy for me? We're going to take a little walk.
The elf stands. He's tall, sturdy, and attractive. Junk and Matson have seen him in Adeline's company, but he's a man of few words. He seems eager to assist Adeline in whatever she would have him do. He nods and sits himself by the old woman and the boy.
Junk shoots Matson a look, and I want to roll perception, get an idea of the space we're in.
Great.
That's a 14.
So you're on the level below the main deck. There are only a dozen portholes that don't let in much light, but due to your Orcan dark vision, you can see just fine. There are refugees on every surface except for the stairs. These stairs sit in the center of the main hold, and currently, a man you've become familiar with, Bilger Skids, is on his usual route, carrying buckets of bilge up from the bowels of the ship.
Junk gestures for the two to join as he walks towards the stairs.
Adeline follows and approaches the bilger. Excuse me, Mr. Skids?
What up?
I see you're busy. I just have a quick question for you.
Yeah, I barely have a moment.
Okay, I'll keep it super quick for you. Did you happen to have seen a passenger with a long silver braid, eye patch, rather thin, tall?
All right. You might be talking about the quartermaster. The quartermaster has a long silver braid. This is a ship, though, and even I have an eye patch right around my head because, sometimes you go below deck and you need to be able to see. So sometimes the quartermaster wears an eye patch. He doesn't always wear an eye patch, though.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. That's so very helpful.
He just shrugs and continues on. As he leaves, you notice how good his calves are since he goes up and down the stairs every day.
Okay, I'm going to roll just for general knowledge to see if Adeline has any idea what a quartermaster is. And I roll a 2.
Adeline might have been sailing once in her life, but she did not retain any knowledge.
Great.
Now let's head up to the deck. I'm sure someone up there knows where to find this quartermaster.
Junk is having a little too much fun with all of this. He's really happy to have something to do and some people to do it with.
Sounds great. After you.
Matson rolls his eyes, hearing Junk's excitement, and he begins to head up the stairs.
All right, so the three of you head up towards the deck. Junk, roll a d20 for me.
13.
13. You make it up the stairs without slipping.
Lucky 13.
Well, it's fairly quiet on the main deck. There are a couple of swabbies, a sailor on the ratlines, and an elder elven man looking out to sea, leaning against the portside gunwale.
Hey, Mr. Moody, isn't that your kin over there? Maybe he can help.
First off, my name is Matson. I would ask you yours, but I already know it because you are very, very loud. And no, that man is not my kin. I am a shadow elf from Morganfall. He is merely a common elf. And Matson finally lowers his hood, and for the first time, we see his pale gray skin and bright magenta eyes.
Oh, well, look at that. Who knew? Well, let's go chat with him anyway. What do you say?
And Junk walks off towards the elf.
Adeline follows.
Matson doesn't entirely follow, but instead lingers on the opposite side of the boat and listens from a distance.
As you approach the elf, you can see he looks a bit sick. He bobs his head and he half hums, half moans to himself.
Excuse me, sir? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
Well, you did.
Oh, my apologies.
It's quite all right. Lovely morning, isn't it?
Very lovely, yes. But are you all right? You don't look so great.
Yes, I've been vomiting all morning.
Well, someone enjoyed a few too many mugs last night.
No, I can only assume then that the two of you aren't magic sensitive. I am, and I've noticed the magic in the air waxing and waning as you journey south. It evokes a feeling quite like motion sickness.
Oh, you poor thing.
Well, what can I do for you?
Well, my friend here and we just wanted to ask you a quick question. Where the quartermaster is?
I mean, he's brother to the captain. I assume they'd have quarters near each other.
Oh, that's perfect. Great. Thank you so much for the information.
Yeah, thanks. And I hope your magic waves or whatever you said get better.
There's another guy staying near the captain's quarters. Biggest asshole on the Providence. Do me a favor, punch him in the face.
You got it.
Well, that sure is a forward request. To whom are you referring?
You're from the Free Cities, aren't you?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Sir Monteith Winsome?
Adeline's going to roll to see if she knows who this is. 11.
You have heard of Monteith Winsome. He's a high-ranking lord from Decorum who has become quite notorious. He sold his people on his land, people his lordship was supposed to protect, to the Shadow Elves as slaves. He now has apparently fled Decorum with all of his gold and is traveling in a private suite beside the captain's quarters on this very ship.
Yes, actually. I am aware of Monteith Winsome.
He's terrible. He saw me and assumed I was a servant because I'm an elf, and he handed me his bags. I'm not a servant, I'm a master geomancer. Excuse me.
Oh, boy.
So it seems his reputation precedes him.
The gall of him. If you see him, please pull that stupid braid right off of his head.
Adeline shoots Junk a look when he says braid, hoping he caught that as well.
He didn't.
Well, you feel better, and if we do run into Sir Winsome, we'll definitely give him a piece of our mind.
Yes, thank you.
And he returns to dry heaving over the side.
Matson was eavesdropping on the conversation, and when it's over, he re-engages with the party. So Monteith Winsome is on board? I'm not sure how that information escaped me. And what was that about the quartermaster? He's the captain's brother?
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Isn't what nice?
Well, the ship. It's like their little family business.
Let's head towards the captain's quarters. We may not know where his brother is, but he's surely there.
There's a wooden art-shaped door that leads you to the captain's quarters. It's pristine and polished, the sight of which reminds you that the Providence is in better condition than any other ship you've seen in wartime. This door opens as the party approaches it. A heavily armored woman exits first. Her black hair is pulled up in a tight black ponytail, so tight that her eyebrows are raised like she's permanently surprised. She carries a long sword on her side and a short sword behind her back. By her stance, you can tell she serves as guardian to the man behind her. He's tall and slender with an eye patch and a long silver braid. They look surprised to see the likes of you in their path.
Sir Winsome!
Oh, hello. It's nice to be recognized.
I can't believe I'm standing face to face with you. I've heard you've been supporting my people in our cause in the war.
Yeah, let's not talk about this too much in front of everyone.
Oh, of course. Can we go? Is there a place we can go and I can get you a drink or something?
It's very, very early in the morning, so I've already had 2 cocktails. No, but my lady Seneca here was just going to show me the view as we travel. I very much would like to be left alone if you don't mind.
Might I be able to find you later?
Perhaps. It has been a boring journey. My guardian here is a silent sister. She fights well. Her conversation skills are lacking. Do you play chess?
Oh, yes, I consider myself a formidable player. But I'm sure someone with your reputation could show me a thing or two.
Oh, classic shadow elf. Flattery will get you everywhere. Come to my quarters midday. We can share an old brandy together.
Sounds perfect.
Yes, till then. Monteith Winsome and Seneca wander away. They avoid the puking elf and look to the horizon on the starboard side of the ship.
Junk looks to Matson, and he's a little hurt.
You know, we've been below deck for weeks playing games, and you never once asked to play with us.
Well, you're not Sir Monteith Winsome.
Well, you're not someone Winsome.
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
Well, whatever that was about is your own business. Let's see if the captain's in. And Adeline enters the inner quarters.
Junk follows.
As does Matson.
The door was left open, and you can see down a short hallway to find 2 rooms on the left and 1 room on the right.
I want to roll an investigation to see if I can tell which room belongs to who.
Go for it.
11.
You can't make a distinction between the 3 room doors, but directly ahead there is a smaller door that you assume is a storage closet.
Matson, without hesitation, reaches for the first door on the left and tries the knob.
The door swings open, and you hear a quick rustling.
Yes. What's up? Going on? What's going on?
We're looking for Mr. Winsome.
No Winsome here. No.
He's a man that looks in many ways similar to Monteith Winsome. He's trim and has a long silver braid. He's younger, but his skin has been weathered by a life on the sea. He also looks like he just finished hiding something, or like someone told him to act natural and he critically failed. He's leaning against his cot, looking really anxious. I do apologize, but there are no passengers allowed in this area.
Are you okay, sir? You seem to be under distress.
I'm fine, thank you. Can you please go back below deck?
You're not Mr. Winsome.
No, I'm not Mr. Winsome. I'm Pharaoh Danis, the quartermaster of this ship. Now, will you please leave and let me quartermast?
No.
Sorry to disturb you, Mr. Danis, was it?
Yes, Danis. Quartermaster Danis.
To keep the door open, Adeline tries to be cute. Oh, quartermaster. Oh, that sounds like a very important job.
It really is a very important job. Do you know what a quartermaster does?
Not really, no.
I'm in charge of all of the things that come aboard the ship. I take care of requisitions.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, can you please leave me alone? It was in the middle of writing.
Oh, and you're a writer.
Yes. God, not everything's supposed to be the beginning of a conversation. Can you please just leave me alone?
Quartermaster, while I have you, there's a little girl that belongs to me. She's my property, and she's recently gone missing. A small little human child. Have you seen a little girl around here recently?
There's so many children aboard the ship, so I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh. Sorry to disturb you.
Yes, thank you.
The quartermaster is waiting for you 3 to leave and close the door like polite people, but since you clearly aren't, he starts to close it himself and push you with the door.
Have a great day.
Okay, goodbye. The door closes and you are again alone in the hall. Seconds later, however, the lone door on the right opens and an unkempt young woman exits bashfully. She's holding her shoes and straightening her dress. She blushes, but she says nothing as she brushes by you to exit.
Junk winks at her and gives her a big excited thumbs up.
She takes that sort of threateningly because your actual mitt is so large. She sort of lets out a little ee and continues.
Hey, where you going? I just want to be friends.
And you notice the door that she left from remains open a crack.
Matson gives a little tap on the door.
Just a minute.
The door creaks open further as Matson taps on it. Inside, he finds an incredibly messy room. There are bottles and casks of beer everywhere, the waxen shells of cheese wheels. On the bedpost, a large feathered black felt captain's hat tells you conclusively that this is the captain's quarters. And lying face down on his bed, wearing only a shirt with his bare ass facing you, is who you presume to be the captain.
My apologies.
Yeah, just give me a moment.
He goes to his hands and knees and reaches for his breeches. He pulls them on backwards, which confuses him as he tries to tie the lacing in the front. He grumbles and starts to tie it in the back anyway. He's clearly hungover.
Yeah. Can I help you?
Good morning, Captain.
Is that what it is? Oh man, I need to go back to bed. What's going on? Is the ship on fire?
No, the ship's fine.
We are in the captain's quarters, yes?
Yeah, Captain Dennis, that's me.
Captain Dennis. Great. We just met your brother.
Firo, let's go with him. You know, I'm a captain, but that guy, wow, he keeps the ship going. He should wear this hat over here.
Captain, so sorry to disturb you this morning. The voyage has been lovely so far.
No, it hasn't. You guys are packed in like sardines down there. You can barely breathe. There's so many refugees.
Well, yes, considering the circumstances, it's been a nice trip so far. That being said, I do have a question. Being as the head of the ship as you are.
I get it. I can fit another one in. Come here. Come here. Let's do this. I can take my pants off.
No, please, sir, keep your pants on.
Okay.
I simply have a question for you.
You like the pants on, then? Okay.
As you are in command of the ship, I imagine you have a knowledge of everything that's going on board.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
There's a little girl in my possession, a property I've been traveling with. She seems to have gone missing. She's a bit of a troublemaker. She's always getting lost, and I've wondered if you've seen her or anyone has come to you.
I've heard about you, Shadow Elves. You own people. That's great. I don't want to get involved with any of all that. Just I don't pay attention to the little ones, you know. But here's the deal. There's an old lady that's on the ship. I hear she takes in all the little rascals that need help. Just go talk to her. Listen, you told me it was morning, so I'm gonna go back to bed. Good luck with finding your little slave girl.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sleep.
If you hear anything, please let me know. My name is Mazen.
Mazen?
Mazen.
Mazen?
Mazen.
Mazen? Well, whatever your name is, I have to. You said it was morning, and I gotta go back to bed.
Thank you, Captain. And Mazen closes the door and backs out.
Well, isn't he pleasant?
For that entire conversation, Junk had a massive grin on his face. He thinks the captain is so cool.
Does anyone else find it strange that the captain's own quarters are in shambles, yet the rest of the ship is a vision of perfection?
No.
Yes. Do you think Sir Winsome has something to do with it?
Well, the last room must be his, and assuming him and that guard he had with him are the only ones staying in it, should currently be empty. And Mazen slowly approaches the second door on the left and tries the knob.
It is locked.
Do you have any lockpicks? And also the ability to pick locks?
I do have the ability, but not the tools. Wasn't expecting this kind of scenario when I woke up this morning.
Well, she turns back to the captain's door. He probably has a key in there.
And based on the amount of rum on his breath, he's probably already fallen back asleep. I should be able to get in and out without him ever knowing.
Yeah, and even if he did wake up, he'd probably be very happy to see you in his room for a joyous jackdaw jousting jamboree.
I'm suddenly having second thoughts about this plan.
No, it's going to be great. Go get you a key.
And Junk lightly pushes Matzen's shoulder towards the door.
Ooh, Mazen whips around and gets in Junk's face. You do not know me. Do not touch me.
Junk is uncontrollably smirking like a little kid who just got yelled at.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Adeline tenses up and gives Matzen a quizzical look.
Mazen notices Adeline's look and loosens up. He's a little bit embarrassed. He knows that Junk meant no harm, but he doesn't say anything more before he turns back to the captain's door and turns it very quietly.
You open the door slowly. Captain Dennis has already passed out. He is face down, ass up, and snoring louder than any person should snore.
Roll to perceive around the room, perhaps?
Yeah, for sure.
3.
Wow, this room is really messy. You do, however, hear something. It might be like a clicking, and it seems like it's coming from underneath the bed.
Mazen very slowly lowers himself to the ground, and I'll roll another perception to see what's under there. 11.
In the dark beneath the bed, you see a pair of glowing eyes. These are the eyes of a cat. Beneath the cat's face is the twinkle of something metallic, but you can't tell what it is.
Mazen gives it one of these.
Give me a roll for animal handling.
5.
The cat hisses at you and darts towards a pile of laundry.
Ungracefully, I reach out quickly to grab it by its scruff.
Just give me a dexterity roll for that.
7.
You haphazardly grab the cat's tail. It screeches, but you only end up with a fist of fur. The cat then darts from the room. Adeline and Junk, roll perception for what you see in the hallway.
14.
19. So Junk very clearly sees that there is a bangle of keys around this cat's neck. This commotion also wakes up the captain.
What's going on here? Matson came back.
You remembered my name.
Yeah. Yeah, I had this really explicit dream about you.
Really?
Yeah, you were dancing. And
Dancing?
I had some suntan lotion and I was applying it to those cheeks of yours.
Which cheeks?
I think you know, Matson. I
Yeah?
think you know.
You
Yeah.
must have a very strong mind. I am an excellent dancer.
Yeah?
And Matson looks out the door to see if Junk and Adeline have it under control.
Just as Matson peers out, Junk tries to snatch the cat up from the ground.
That's a dexterity roll.
9.
Ooh, so the same thing happens. You reach for the cat's tail. You end up with only a fist of fur. This poor traumatized cat ends up in the corner shaking. It's a little ginger kitty.
Despite failing miserably, Junk gives Matson a big thumbs up, fur sticking out from his fist and fingers, and he whispers, "We got everything under control."
Adeline takes a more careful approach and kneels down, softly reaching out to the cat.
Give me a roll for animal handling.
16 plus 2 for 18.
After a terrible morning of having its tail pulled, this cat sees Adeline as its savior. It runs into Adeline's arms and begins purring.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, little guy.
You can see that the cat is wearing a ring of 5 keys as a collar as it nuzzles its face into your armpit. And meanwhile, back in the captain's quarters...
So what do you say? You gonna give me a private show?
Well, I couldn't help but notice that lovely woman that left here earlier this morning.
Oh, are you jealous already? I barely know you.
I'm jealous of your prowess.
Oh.
Can you tell me how you managed to seduce such a lovely woman?
I'm the captain. With the captain comes great responsibility. Yeah, she just came over last night. We shared a few drinks, and liquor is quicker. That's what they say.
Meanwhile, outside, we've secured the cat and the keys, and Junk peers in and gives Matson another, yet even more excited thumbs up.
Maybe come find me later, Captain, and we'll continue this discussion.
Gonna continue to tease me. I'll be dreaming of you then.
The captain then slumps backwards onto his bed. He's pitching a morning tent. He shoots a lazy finger gun at you and then closes his eyes.
Matson slinks out of the room and gently closes the door. He stands upright like he's done nothing except do a job he was given to do. Let's never speak of this again.
So, as this is our prologue and we're still getting the hang of things, we're going to do a little summarizing of some of the lesser integral meandering that we did here for the sake of the podcast listening experience. So, at this point, the party entered Sir Monteith Winsome's room with the key that we retrieved off of the cat's collar. In the small, simple room, we found a single bed, a bedroll, and an ornate chest in which Adeline solved a puzzle to open. Inside of the chest, we found ledgers, journals, and letters that proved Sir Monteith's wrongdoing in the war, that evil son of a bitch. We also found 4,000 in gold pieces and some precious gemstones, but before we could do anything with any of it, the quartermaster caught us poking around and became increasingly irritated by our presence. So we exited the area without incident, and back out on the main deck, we met a deckhand named Caleb.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, yes, it's a very lovely morning.
I like your beard. It's really luscious.
I like your hair. It's very blonde.
Why, thank you.
This is how people communicate.
Yes.
We learned very little from Caleb. Afterwards, we decided to return to the small dwarven boy Hallen, and we convinced him to take us to the place at which he witnessed the ship Spider claim its victim.
So, yes, I crouched right here and I stuck my face in this hole.
Oh, wow. You know, I didn't really think about it until now, but bringing you back here to redo this is probably really, really traumatizing.
Yes, this is a trauma that will stay with me my entire life.
I'm very sorry about that.
Okay, well, why don't you head on back upstairs? Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go think about Jolly's death and cry now.
Okay, have fun.
And Adeline crouches down to look in the hole.
It's a dark, triangular-shaped hole. It's large enough that if you wanted to, you could stick your head through it.
So Adeline gets down on the ground and cautiously peers into the hole. I want to roll for perception. Natural 20.
As luck would have it, a glint of sunlight from a porthole window bounces off Adeline's shoulder armor and illuminates the interior perfectly. There are large spider webs clinging to the walls. Aside from that, it seems like a perfectly good room that should be allocated for storage or housing, but it's not. There's no door. Instead, there appears to be a hatch in the ceiling. From your understanding of the ship's layout, this room is directly below the quartermaster's.
So there's clearly a trap door here that leads to the quartermaster's room.
So the kid's not seeing things after all. I'm convinced the quartermaster is behind whatever this giant spider thing is. Do you agree?
Yeah, seems pretty obvious.
Well, let's go pay him another visit. That guy loves us.
You start making your way to the stairs. It's very crowded, so you have to sort of push your way through elves in this hold.
Excuse me, sorry.
Oh, pardon me.
Hey, nice ears.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome so much.
And when you go up the stairs, you actually see the quartermaster is on the main deck, issuing orders to Caleb and his crew.
Junk walks pretty steadfast towards him.
He tells the men to disperse as you approach. He looks exasperated to see your three faces.
Quartermaster.
Yes, you three. Again. What can I do for you?
Junk is going to attempt to intimidate him.
And Matson postures as well to maybe increase its effectiveness.
Really like to have a word with you.
It's a 7.
5.
He gets the idea, like he's not really intimidated, but he also feels like you're not going to let this go. All right, fine. Come back to my room with me.
I'd love to.
So the quartermaster leads you back to his room. He sits at his desk. He pours himself a glass of wine. The cat leaps onto his lap and he starts to pet it. He looks resigned and defeated.
Junk walks over to the bed, really cocky and enjoying this, and maintaining eye contact. In one motion, he lifts up the bed with his right hand and points to the trapdoor with his left.
All you see is a rug.
Junk doesn't notice because he's still looking at the quartermaster.
Well, what do you have to say about this?
Matson, realizing that Junk doesn't see the rug, quickly pulls the rug up and says, "We're pulling the rug out from under you, quartermaster."
There is indeed a trapdoor with an iron ring handle on it.
Tell me this, quartermaster. Why are passengers cramped like sardines when there's a perfectly spacious room right beneath your quarters?
That's really how you're going to go about this. I was just talking to Caleb. He told me that you told him about the ship spider. You're going to pretend to be upset about not having enough room?
Well, clearly she was building to something for dramatic effect. Don't be rude in addition to being a kid eater.
Yeah.
He pulls a book off of his desk. Since Junk is holding his bed and Matson's got a handful of rug, he hands the book to Adeline. I'm not proud of what I've done, but it's the only solution I've found that works. I'm tasked with safely transporting refugees from the north to Shell's Landing through pirate-infested waters. The pirates have intercepted countless ships, but I refused to take that risk. I found a way to make the Providence invisible to these pirates. It's through blood magic. And for a spell of this power, I need a lot of blood. I only pick the sick ones. Children and gnomes often die of fever or famine on this voyage anyway. So I lure them into a hole, I transform into my spider form, and I drink their blood. I don't want to kill them, but for every one I kill, I guarantee hundreds will be saved.
Junk drops the bed.
Well, warts on an old world wizard. That sure takes the fun out of what we're doing here.
My sentiments exactly. You may have noticed that there's another man on this ship who matches my description. This man has done far worse things than me in his life. He's condemned innocent people to death. the very sort of people I'm trying to save. What if you were to kill him in my place and set the refugees' minds at ease?
I think we need a powwow for a second. Would you mind just staying right there and not moving and not turning into a spider for 2 seconds?
Sure, I'll just drink my wine.
Great, thank you.
And he turns to the party and huddles.
Seems obvious to me. This idea is perfect. We kill Winsome.
Wow, slow down. You're really quick to jump into execution mode, Monson. I admit we have more than enough proof of his wrongdoing, but I'm not going to just kill him.
Oh, so you think we should kill the quartermaster? All right, well, I agree. He's eating children.
No, I'm not saying that either.
The many innocent people the ship has given safe passage is well worth the cost of a few sickly children.
No, there must be a way for Winsome and the quartermaster to both pay for their crimes and maintain the safety of this ship.
That's a naive way of looking at things. I don't believe the situation's going to have that kind of outcome.
Well, maybe there's something in this book. Adeline thumbs through the quartermaster's book on magic, and I want to roll knowledge arcana.
Great.
12.
This is very advanced. You can't make heads or tails of this.
Ugh, none of this makes any sense to me. And she hands the book to Monson.
Matson doesn't even try to read anything in the book. It's no use in my hands either.
After a moment of silence, Junk grabs the book from Matson and breaks off from the group. Walking up to the quartermaster quickly, he throws the book in his lap.
The cat narrowly avoids being hit by this book.
If we let you live, you read this book 100 more times. You read 100 more books, and you search every library in Shell's Landing when we get there, and you find another way to magically cloak this ship that doesn't require you to eat kids. Agree?
I was initially going to turn the ship back around and go back for more refugees, but if this is the agreement I must make, I will go to the Kalbana Temple and I will scour their tomes.
And you'll find another way to protect the Providence?
I'll do everything I can.
Great. Question. Do you have any emergency dinghies on this ship?
Of course, we have 3 of them.
Great.
Junk turns back to the party.
I have an idea. What if we make a spectacle out of Monteith Winsome? We make the people of the ship believe that he's the murderous spider, and then we can banish him from the Providence, throw him out into one of the dinghies, and let the sea decide his ultimate fate.
Well, not incredibly efficient, but I can live with that.
And if the quartermaster doesn't keep his promise or fails, then what?
Junk looks back to the quartermaster and sizes him up. And then he looks back to Adeline.
My heart tells me that he will.
Okay. Good by me.
Quartermaster, can you prepare a dinghy for us?
I suppose we can spare our smallest dinghy.
Well, let's go catch ourselves a bad guy. Well, a less bad guy, no offense.
None taken.
And Junk leads the party out of the room and back onto the deck.
It's just about noon. Time to play some chess. I'm not exactly sure what to expect when this goes down.
Okay, I'll go grab Hallen. We'll need him to tell everyone that Winsome is the man he saw. I don't feel good about this.
We're doing the right thing. I'm sure of it.
So Adeline quickly fetches the boy Hallen.
Okay.
And Matson heads to Monteith Winsome's quarters.
And Junk is going to just mill around the deck, not wanting to get too far from Matson just in case.
And when Matson approaches Winsome's door, he knocks. Sir Winsome, how about that match?
You hear his voice from the inside.
Yes, I guess it is about that time, isn't it?
Seneca opens the door. She does not look happy to see you, but she never really looks happy to see anyone. Monteith gathers his chess set from the chest in the corner and walks over to meet you with a big grin on his face. He's genuinely excited to play. As the 3 of you exit his room, Captain Danis pokes his head out from his quarters. He sees Matson exiting another man's room and assumes that you've made a new special friend. He sadly closes his door.
Aw.
Monteith leads Matson up to the highest part of the ship. It's the back of the ship, also called the poop deck. It's a beautiful day with white fluffy clouds. He sets up his ivory chess set on a small wooden table.
Smell that air. It's really a wonderful day to be alive, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
He's brought a bottle of brandy as well. He pours himself and you a glass.
Will your companion be having a drink with us also?
Oh no, she doesn't do much of anything at all.
What does she do, exactly?
Well, she slits the throats of my enemies.
How many enemies do you have?
I've long stopped counting. When you're a nobleman, it comes with the territory. About this time, Adeline has made her way up to the deck with the young boy, Holland. And as the game begins, Matson, I need you to roll to see how well you fare against Sir Monteith Winsome in chess.
2.
2. Wow, he is just having.
He's playing
losing,
checkers.
Maybe I'm losing on purpose.
Yeah, maybe. So as you guys are playing,
The old lady Blarney, 7 children, and a couple other adult gnomes who have all been sharing their tales of the ship spider, they reach the deck, and led by Adeline and now Junk, the entire crowd approaches the chess game. All the kids begin to murmur.
I don't know if is it going to tell my spider? Are we going to see the spider? Are we all going to die? What's going to happen?
And as soon as you reach the poop deck, hush falls over the assembled crowd. This is the first time they are seeing Monteith Winsome, and he matches Hallin's physical description to a T. Seneca's hand moves to her blade, and she's visibly threatened and on edge.
Junk speaks out loud enough for everyone to hear. He's not at all casual. It's clear that he's trying to make a big spectacle.
Oh, little chunky boy, is this the man you saw?
Hallin is too afraid to answer.
Ah, yes, your silence speaks volumes. You heard the boy. Everyone, you heard him. He identified that man.
And he points to Winsome.
What is going on? What is this crowd?
he almost expects you guys to like put on a play or something. Like he's like, what is going on here?
Matson speaks loud enough for all to hear. Sir Winsome, we know everything that's been going on. Everything you've done. Using blood magic to transform yourself into a massive spider and killing innocent children.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is the meaning of this spectacle?
We're giving you 2 options. Admit to your crimes, and we'll let you live. If you do not, we will not.
I think you've miscounted my options. My silent sister Seneca is dedicated to my protection. She will not hesitate in slitting the throats of any which threaten me.
No doubt she's very skilled, but clearly the numbers are in our favor. She can't take on all of us.
Yeah, and we've got this kid here, and I bet he's a very powerful, just untested warrior.
And Junk puts his hand on the kid's shoulder.
No, please, I bruise easily.
Surrender, Winsome, and make this easy on yourself.
I won't sit here and be accused by buffoons of a crime I didn't commit. I'm leaving. Monteith stands and starts walking to the stairs. Seneca follows.
Matson gets to his feet, flips the chess table, and pulls his daggers.
Simultaneously, Junk steps in front of him, blocking the stairway down.
In response, Seneca draws both of her blades. Get out of my way before this gets ugly.
How dare. My mother told me I was most handsome.
And can I roll up perception to get a gauge on the silent sister to see if I should fear her or not? 13.
The reputation of Silent Sisters precede them. They're the most sought-after protectors of nobles. One-on-one, you are likely outclassed.
Not showing any of that, Junk smiles at her.
Feeling the pressure, Adeline draws her bow back and pulls an arrow aiming directly at Seneca.
And Matson walks up behind them, so they're now surrounded.
So be it. Seneca, kill them. And everyone needs to roll for initiative.
16.
7.
1.
All right, it's Junk's turn to act.
Junk, in an attempt to be slick, wants to quickly reach past Seneca and snatch Winsome in an attempt to hold him hostage and avoid the fight altogether.
All right, so first roll a d20 for me for success.
6.
Great. Well, give me a clumsy roll.
Well, damn it. 12.
As Junk grabs for Monteith, he slips out of reach. Monteith attempts to strike back and swings his brandy bottle at you. You avoid taking damage and almost fall backwards down the stairs, but you rolled well, so you don't.
Great.
Immediately after this, Seneca's blade whooshes in front of Junk's eyes. In the scuffle at the top of the stairs, she misjudged her distance, so Junk takes 0 damage. Monteith Winsome takes advantage of the chaos and starts to run. With no interest in fighting, he pushes past Junk in the crowd and rushes down the flight of stairs to the main deck. And it's Adeline's turn to act.
So Adeline is going to aim that arrow she has drawn to Seneca's leg.
Great. So first roll a d20 for accuracy.
5.
And then your bow's damage roll.
2.
Adeline's arrow glances off of Seneca's leg armor for 0 damage. And it is Matson's turn to act.
I am going to go for a backstab on Seneca since I'm already in place for it.
Okay, accuracy roll.
9.
9. Great. And your dagger's damage is doubled since this is a backstab.
For 3 and 3.
So, Matson brandishes his daggers. They flash in the sunlight. You stab them into Seneca's back, but due to her armor, she's only shallowly cut for 4 damage. Amazingly, the sister remains silent through the pain. And it's back around to Junk's turn.
Junk, not one to overcomplicate things, grabs his warhammer, wants to give an overhead swing, and just try to club her down to the ground.
Great, roll for accuracy.
3.
Okay, what about your warhammer damage?
8.
Seneca sees Junk's warhammer coming a mile away.
Damn it.
She ducks under it easily and thus takes 0 damage. She responds with an attack of her own. As she rises, she slices Junk's thigh, mercifully for only 2 damage. With 0 evidence that Monteith is indeed the ship spider, he continues running without being stopped by any crew members. He's nearly at the cabin door, and it's Adeline's turn to act.
Yeah, so Adeline draws back another arrow and once again aims for Seneca's leg to prevent her from escaping. 8 accuracy for 1 damage.
Yeah, once again, your arrow glances off her armor. If she incurred any damage, she's not showing any signs, and it's Matson's turn to act.
Unlike Adeline, who seems to just be acting non-lethally, Matson is out for blood, and he wants to rush Seneca and lunge at her with his daggers. Oh boy, 1.
1. Oh no.
The worm.
So no need to roll a damage roll. As Matson hurls his body at Seneca, she casually sidesteps,
Causing Matson to fall over the side of the ship, like grabbing onto the rail and like now cliff-hanging from like the side of the ship.
Oh, look at Mr. Shadow Elf showing off.
and now it's time for Junk to act.
So last time he went overhand, this time he's rushing in sideways, swinging his warhammer horizontally, aiming for Seneca's shoulder. 4.
4. Okay.
Jeez Louise.
Oops.
Again, Seneca dodges your attack for 0 damage. She finds the space to move past you, however, and she does. She chooses to bolt down the stairs to protect her master. She pulls out a throwing knife as she does this and chucks it at Matson with the intent of skewering his hand as he dangles from the ship. In her panic, however, it doesn't find its mark and it clatters to the deck instead. Seneca, to me! Monteith then pulls open the door to the cabin and disappears inside. Of your enemies, Seneca is now the only visible target as she runs towards the door, and it's Adeline's turn to act.
Adeline flings her bow to her back and rushes to Matson and attempts to help him up safely onto the deck.
Give me a roll for athletics.
10.
A 10. Yes, you're successful in grabbing his hand and you help pull him up to the ship.
Matson is a bit embarrassed that he had to be saved, but he doesn't say anything. He just nods to Adeline.
As this happens, Seneca makes her way inside the cabin, and we've officially fallen out of battle.
Junk is walking over to them, all smiles.
Well, you know what? That was our first time fighting alongside each other, and I think it went pretty well.
The crowd looks a combination of confused and dejected.
They drag us all the way up
Why
here.
would they?
No plot.
Why would they let the Spider-Man get away?
Well, he's trapped in his room and is not going anywhere. Should we take this moment to rethink what we're doing here?
Why would we do a thing like that? You just said it. He's trapped. Well, let's go get him.
And then, just like that, Junk turns and makes a beeline for the cabins.
Wait, Junk! And Adeline follows.
Matson shrugs and follows.
When you open the door to the cabins, the quartermaster is there.
I couldn't help but notice Sir Monteith Winsome run by me and lock his door.
Yeah, that didn't quite go as planned.
Well, he's got nowhere to run. Here, let me just break this door down.
No, Junk, wait. Quartermaster, he has no reason to believe that you're in our plan. Why don't you see if he'll open the door for you?
Sure. Monteith and I have a bit of a rapport. I guess I could give that a try.
All right, great. Thank you.
The quartermaster walks over to the door and gives it a little knock.
Hello, Sir Monteith. It's me, Quartermaster Danis.
What could you possibly want from me?
I just thought you should know that those 3 terrible people who have been troubling you, we've reprimanded them and we put them in our brig that we have. And also, my brother felt really bad. My brother, the captain, he baked you a cake, and it's right here in my hands.
Well, I do really like a good cake.
While this is happening, Matson sneaks past and goes to the other side of the door at the end of the hallway.
As you do that, you hear some whispering from the other side of the door. One would assume this is just Winsome.
All right, I'm opening the door for you, Mr. Quartermaster.
You hear the door unlock. It's opened by Seneca, who immediately decapitates the quartermaster.
Oh!
His head hits the floor and rolls around at your feet.
Well, farts.
Did you honestly think I couldn't hear your entire conversation through the door? This is a ship. You could hear the screams of children through the floor. I watched the quartermaster shove cocooned corpses out of his porthole. It wasn't any of my business, but now you've forced my hand. Congratulations, the real ship spider is dead. The little beggar children can go back to dying of fever. And as for the three of you, I'll give you to the count of 5 to get out of my face before Seneca disembowels you. 1. And blood splatters against Seneca's face from the quartermaster's burning neck wound. His body collapses in front of her. Seneca is vigilant and unyielding in this doorway. She's daring you to try anything.
Junk leans over to Adeline.
She's just standing there with that dude's blood just hitting her in the face and not even blinking. Total badass.
Seneca nods in agreement.
I think I'm in love. Wait, how much time left do we have to leave?
And 5.
And once again, everyone needs to roll for initiative.
16?
11 for Matson.
Also 11.
So it's Adeline's turn to act first. From your position in the hall, you can see Seneca's upper half as she stands in her fighting stance in the doorway. Monteith is out of sight within his quarters.
Adeline draws an arrow back and aims for the meat of her shoulder.
Okay.
12 for 2 damage.
It's difficult to wield a bow in a narrow ship hallway, but Adeline manages to fire. Your arrow, however, glances off Seneca's helmet for 0 damage. It ricochets, narrowly missing Junk before clattering against the floor. And it's Matson's turn to act.
Ugh.
Matson is going to lunge at her with his daggers. 3 accuracy for 4 damage.
Despite Matson's wild, imprecise attack, Seneca is taken by surprise. Your daggers draw blood for 4 damage, and it's Junk's turn to act.
Junk follows Matson's lead and also lunges at her, attempting to swing his warhammer. 14 for just 1 damage.
Oh.
And Junk is quick to discover that fighting with a warhammer in a narrow hallway is also difficult. The head of his warhammer swings half a foot before tapping Seneca backwards. She takes 0 damage, but looks angry that she lost her footing. She returns a strike with her short sword and slices Junk's shoulder for 2 damage.
That's the one shoulder I don't have any scars on yet. I don't think it's going to work out between us.
And meanwhile, Monteith has crawled onto his bed. He's crouched and he's cowering. It's Adeline's turn to act, but now that Junk and Matson have pushed Seneca back into the room and are standing in the doorway, she doesn't have a clear shot.
All right, well, without a clear shot to take, Adeline turns to the main cabin door behind her in hopes it has a lock to ensure no one comes inside.
Yeah, it's a basic turn latch lock from the inside.
Great. So she locks it and turns her attention back towards the fight on guard.
Okay, the door's locked, and it's Matson's turn to act.
Matson quickly repositions himself inside the room when Seneca strikes Junk and wants to return strikes of his own.
So let's see how you hit.
17.
17, good hit. 2 and 2.
4.
Matson does a fancy spin as he strikes, slicing Seneca's ribs and neck for 4 damage. Everyone now is completely in the room except for Adeline, who's all alone in the hall. And it's Junk's turn to act.
I'm going to really baseball bat this swing to her, attempts to her back. Critical fail.
Critical fail, a 1.
God damn it.
No.
So when you swing your warhammer, Seneca easily ducks. The head of your warhammer, however, smashes through the glass of the porthole window and then becomes stuck.
Ooh.
You're left to solve the puzzle of how to pull a square out of a round hole, wiggling the shaft like an asshole.
Now, careful, guys. I think the magical ship is trying to eat my warhammer.
As this happens, it is now Seneca's turn to attack. She now is less concerned with you because you're looking like a dope. And
She instead directs her attention to Matson. She brings her short sword down upon your foot and splits your toe for only 1 damage. And it's Adeline's turn to act.
Adeline moves to the doorway of the room, and I want to roll perception to see what's going on inside.
Great.
14.
So when Adeline moves into position, she sees Seneca to her left and Matson to her right, fighting in close quarters. Behind them, Monteith is cowering on the bed, and Junk is standing beside a broken porthole window. His warhammer is stubbornly stuck inside. That's all Adeline can do this turn, so it's Matson's turn to act.
Matson continues his assault on Seneca with his daggers.
19, good.
6.
Matson strikes with his first dagger with such force it knocks Seneca's helmet off and cuts a line of blood across her forehead. You stab the second one into her ribs. Clearly in a lot of pain, she drops to one knee and backs towards Monteith. and it's Junk's turn to act. Junk, if you'd like to use your Warhammer, it will take your turn to free it from the porthole.
So Junk briefly looks down at his big half-orc mitts that are more than capable of pulverizing on their own, but as quick as that thought comes to him, it's gone, and he's going to try to get his beloved Warhammer free to use that instead.
And let's see how successful you are at doing that.
17.
Now roll again for clumsy check.
15.
15. So you were able to withdraw the hammer without causing further malady in the room.
Great.
Feeling pressured, Seneca eyes her escape and sees Adeline in the doorway. She pulls another throwing knife and chucks it with alarming accuracy into Adeline's shoulder for 3 damage. This causes Adeline to lower her bow. Seneca then gestures for Monteith to make his escape. He darts towards the hall, so Adeline must do a reflex save if you want to keep him from getting past you.
19.
Nice.
Just as Monteith sprints past Adeline, she turns and tackles him to the floor. This knocks the wind out of him and deals 1 point of damage. He's completely prone and he's not going anywhere. And it's Mutson's turn.
Again, attacking Seneca. 10 for 5 damage.
So, as Seneca watches Monteith leave, she finds Motson's blades coming for her. The first stabs under her jaw, the second stabs down through the top of her head.
Ooh.
The blades clink inside of her skull. You hole punched her. Blood and brain bits gush out of her. She slumps over, dead.
Wow.
Junk's eyes are wide at Motson's extremely violent display.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Motson pays Junk no attention as he pulls out the blades and wipes blood from them.
From the ground, Monteith wheezes.
I guess this is appropriate fate to befall me. What will you do with me?
You're going on the boat.
We're all already on the boat.
No, this is a ship.
The small boat, Junk. Remember? It was kind of your idea.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was my idea, of course.
And Junk grabs Sir Monteith by his ponytail, pulling him to his feet, and begins to lead him out towards the deck.
Adeline pulls the throwing knife from her shoulder and cringes.
Motson sheathes his blades and helps Adeline to her feet. Way to hold your ground, soldier.
Oh, thank you. She pulls him a bit closer. But soldiers fight on behalf of kings. I am no soldier.
Motson, a little intrigued, smirks at her. My apologies.
As this happens, the captain's door opens again, and he pokes his head out.
Whoa, what's going on out here? Is that my brother's head?
Everything's fine, Captain. Go back to sleep.
All right.
Captain Danis's door closes again. You drag Monteith out onto the main deck. The children and the gnomes cheer. Caleb and his crew are waiting there as well.
Junk wants to use this moment to grandstand and try to show off to his new friends and the rest of the ship. He dramatically throws Monteith to the deck.
Here he is, the ship spider. As sworn, he shall cease to seize the safety of the ship's sailors and snot-nosed small fries.
And add the killing of your quartermaster at the hands of his servant to his list of crimes.
Adeline, still putting pressure on her wound, steps up and continues their little show. Crimes for which the captain has declared the sea shall have its way with him.
The children are overjoyed. The crowd seems to be buying this. In fact, it seems like they want to believe this.
Right.
And Caleb approaches.
Well, per tradition, when a man is cast adrift, we do not abandon him without his belongings. I'll retrieve them along with the body of his guardian. Men, ready the dinghy.
And the men snap to work.
Oh, no, it's very bloody and gruesome in there. Why don't you let us handle that?
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Motson heads back towards the room.
Adeline follows and nods to Junk to come with.
Junk does so.
We head back quickly to the bloody room. Adeline kicks open the chest.
Motson tilts it, dumping everything out. He pockets the 4,000 gold they saw earlier without even looking at anyone else.
Adeline notices this, but she doesn't say anything. She proceeds to grab Winsome's ledgers and other things that prove his guilt and closes up his chest. We really screwed this up. With the quartermaster dead, the ship is without a hope.
And the man was killing children after all, right? Serves us right for getting involved in business that wasn't ours.
I don't know.
Junk senses Adeline's disappointment.
Well, Monteith Winsome is a bad man, and he's being punished, so at least there's that, right?
As Junk says this, Matson hoists Seneca's body over his shoulder.
Blood continues to drain out of her skull. She will leave a trail of gore wherever you take her.
I guess, Junk. Hey, would you mind grabbing this chest? My shoulder has a hole in it.
Junk picks up the chest and leads the party all back.
When you return to the main deck, the children all cheer again. They're all really excited by the sight of Seneca's dead body.
Oh, no.
Caleb meets you and gestures to the portside dinghy.
Oh, great. Place her body right there with this foul cretin.
Matson tosses Seneca's body in the boat next to Monteith.
Monteith looks at her morosely.
What a waste of money.
Junk places the chest down in the dinghy as well.
Adeline leans towards it and pats the top of it patronizingly. That's everything.
The charade that you pulled today will never lead to your happiness.
The crew then starts to turn the crank that lowers the dinghy into the ocean.
Junk waves goodbye to Winsome.
I don't know what a charade is. Bye-bye.
Caleb then offers Adeline an oar.
My dear, would you like to do the honor and toss this man an oar?
Adeline takes it, looking at the clear flesh wound in her shoulder as if to say, do you not see this? And says, sure, and throws it.
All right, roll to see how well you can throw this oar.
6.
So Adeline throws the oar over the side of the ship. Perhaps due to your shoulder being wounded, the throw goes wide and the oar sort of lands like a little bit far out away from the boat. And so Sir Monteith, who has so far in the story had a sense of dignity and pride until he was tackled to the ground by you in the first place, now has to reach over the side of the boat and just doggy paddle pull the boat towards where the oar is.
Perfect.
And there's sharks in them waters, so...
Junk is still waving goodbye.
Oh, you missed the oar. Oh, no, that's going to be bad.
And with that, Captain Danis emerges from the cabin finally. He's dressed. His hair is combed as much as he would comb it. He looks like he's had a shower, but he's probably just covered in sweat. Anyway, he sees Winsome.
What happened here? Why is there a trail of blood leading to this? Why is Sir Winsome in a dinghy doggy paddling to that oar?
Captain, I'm afraid we have some bad news. Something terrible has happened to your brother.
I'm sorry. Winsome's guard cut off his head before we could act.
Wow. My own brother. Slaughtered right outside my door. Couldn't even sober up long enough to be there for him.
We're so sorry for your loss, sir.
Now what am I gonna do? My brother was the only one keeping the ship going. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I'm sort of a shitty captain.
I haven't noticed.
Well, the first thing you're going to have to do is find someone who can keep the ship safe.
I'm not too worried about that. My brother always said the Providence is the luckiest ship in the sea. Never been attacked by pirates once.
Look around, Captain. It would appear that luck has run out. Here, take this. It's 1,000 gold. Everything we found on Sir Monteith Winsome.
Adeline smirks at Monson.
Oh, wow.
When we dock, you need to hire some protection. Mercenaries, a mage, anyone you can find to protect this ship so you can continue to do good. Countless refugees are relying on you. Do you understand?
Right, yeah, that makes sense. It's gonna be so hard trying to do this by myself. I really need the help of a good quartermaster.
Well, what about Caleb here? Adeline gestures toward him. I mean, he seems to already have the respect of your men.
Caleb? Yeah, Caleb's a great idea. Caleb, if you don't mind, come here. I would like to offer you the position of quartermaster if you'll accept it.
Well, come on, the anticipation is killing me.
Captain, I humbly accept.
Yes, what a lovely moment between this family of two brothers.
What? No, Junk.
For the good of the ship, my first order of business will be to lock up all the captain's ale.
Caleb immediately makes a beeline towards the captain's quarters. The captain says, "Wait!" and chases after him with his arms out.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I thought you were scary at first.
Okay, yes, please let go of me. Let go of me now.
Helen, let's go.
You're quite welcome.
Well, you must let me repay you somehow. I don't have any money, but I could see maybe my uncle could help. What are the three of you doing when we get to Shell's Landing?
Oh, well, I don't know just yet. She looks at Junk.
Junk shrugs.
Matson says nothing because he's curious where this is going.
Wow. Well, you seem like you have zero plans. There are so many refugees and not a lot of work. But my uncle is a Kelber at Ettenstone Temple. He could give you work and a place to stay as you find your footing.
Matson looks to the group. It wouldn't be wise to turn down the safety of a place to rest our heads.
No, it wouldn't. Thank you so much, Helen. That's so kind of you.
Yes, that is very kind of you, Helen. Thank you. But are you sure there's room? I don't want to be an intrusion.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of room because my sister's dead.
All right, and with that, I think that is the ending of our prologue.
Woo!
Paul, we have to have earned some sweet experience points for this, right?
For defeating Seneca, you guys are all rewarded 100 experience points. She was a tough enemy. And for solving the quest, the problem aboard the Providence.
Solving is you're being very gracious.
You will all get an additional 75 experience. So altogether, for this prologue, that is 175 experience points out of 1,000 to level up.
Well, there you have it, the prologue in the books. Now, moving forward, we will have an additional player here with us for each episode, a guest of quest for every chapter moving forward. Really looking forward to that. If you want to hear more, if you want to see more information about the characters we're portraying, if you want to see a map of Rymore and the land, please visit D&DWpod.com. Once again, that's D&DW pod. Stands for Dungeons and Dragon Wagon Pod.com. And on that page, you can click the contact where you can send us an email with any of your gripes, suggestions, or anything that you just want to say. Maybe you just want to say hi. That's totally doable. We would love to hear from you. And while you're there, please check out the shop and get yourself some official D&DW Pod merchandise. It is a great way to support the show. There are t-shirts and mugs, some awesome designs, stuff you really love. And again, best way to show your support. Also, please follow at D&DW Pod on all social media and at It's Dragon Wagon. And if you're talking about the show, please use hashtag D&DW Pod or hashtag The Rymore Reason. Share it with a friend if you think you know somebody who will enjoy it. And last but certainly not least, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Another great way to help the show, help some people find it. That'll do it for today. Say goodbye, Paul.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Alexandra.
Cheerio.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next quest.
It's Dragon Wagon.
Hey, I got a question, Adeline. Where's your elven manslave this whole time?
Excuse me? He's not a slave. He's a free person.
What's he been up to? Sorry, I know that we're in the middle of this whole thing right now. It just dawned on me.
I don't know. He's his own man.
Oh.
Let's just say he's sleeping down in the hold still. Like, he doesn't have, like, the eagle-eared.
Yeah, you know those eagles known for those giant ears.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that, like, call to adventure gene in him like the three of you do.